What's going on, Godzirra Nation? This is ArghGodzirra, and welcome to the inaugural episode of ArghGodzirra Reviews, where we're going to be looking at things like film reviews, video game reviews, television show reviews, music reviews. If it's there to be reviewed, we're going to look at it. We're kicking things off by looking at Leigh Whannell's The Invisible Man. While H.G. Wells' novel takes us down a road prominently comprised of sci-fi tones, Leigh Whannell's modern-day retelling takes us down a much darker path which paints vivid imagery throughout in one of the strongest performances you will see all year. There is a tangible grimness and coldness throughout The Invisible Man, and this is created to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible, and they deliver that in spades. Trapped in a violent, controlling relationship with a wealthy and brilliant scientist, Cecilia Cass escapes in the dead of night and disappears into hiding, aided by her sister. But when Cecilia's abusive ex commits suicide and leaves her a generous portion of his vast fortune, Cecilia suspects his death was a hoax, as a series of eerie coincidences turns lethal, threatening the lives of those she loves. Cecilia's sanity begins to unravel as she desperately tries to prove that she is being hunted by someone no one can see. The fact that she's not only suffering physically, but even after the passing of her ex, she feels she's haunted by his presence. While we know the film paints a more sinister work at play, in relation to the real world, that's something that becomes all too familiar with some people. Speaking out about said violence but having it fall on deaf ears, suffering from violence, but no one around you being able to see what's truly happening. The undertones and symbolism throughout this film is absolutely phenomenal. However, it's also hard to watch Cecilia suffer, either emotionally or physically. There are several instances in which women are struck hard in The Invisible Man. When it happens to Cecilia, we hear the crack of a hand against her cheekbone just before she reels off her feet. There's some cruelty in this visual, and there are moments in The Invisible Man that are not fun to watch at all. But the movie's violence opens up a larger question, keyed to the way the world reacts when a woman steps forward to call out abuse. What is it that makes us believe a woman's story? If a woman is struck by an unseen hand, as Cecilia is in this film, did it really happen? Where's the tangible proof? In The Invisible Man, it's her word against his silence, and he doesn't even have the guts to show his face. Elisabeth Moss's no-holds-barred portrayal of Cecilia is phenomenal, and she's the skeleton key of the film that opens every door that leads you down the right path. Director Leigh Whannell has fully clued into the open secret of all great horror films. The scariest thing are those that you don't see. In one scene, Cecilia lies sleeping as the blanket covering her is slowly dragged off by an unseen force at the foot of the bed. Could you think of a simpler device? It's more than a cheap parlor trick that we've seen in films like Paranormal Activity. That being said, this moment is chilling, partly because the sight of, or the illusion of, someone looking at a sleeping woman is always chilling. Cecilia's vulnerability is a kind of raw nakedness. She's a woman with no place to hide. Yet when she tries to tell her friends, her sister, the authorities that her vengeful ex has found a way to make himself invisible and is trying to destroy her, we can understand the doubt that comes over their faces, even though we have seen plenty of evidence that proves that Cecilia is telling the truth. Maybe she could just be imagining it all. The movie enlists us as a part of the gaslighting scheme, particularly in the tricky final act of the film. This film does everything to shine a bright light on the most unappealing moments of what it means to be a survivor head on. And while the film is from a female's perspective, the discussion needs to be openly had that men are just as susceptible to suffering from domestic violence and abuse also. However, the first half of the film is a bit of a slow burn that not all filmgoers might not be too keen on, and you might get a bit of theoretical whiplash once the action picks up in the second act, which is packed with brutality and brilliance. That being said, the setup leading up to all the action falls a little flat, because arguably there's little to no build up in that direction at all. With that all being said, however, it doesn't lessen the blow of Whannell's vision too much, making for some absolutely jaw-dropping moments. While it might be made for every audience, I firmly believe this film is a must-see. This uniquely grim depiction takes strides to push the reinvention of the universal dark universe in the right direction, and might just be the strongest horror performance we see in 2020. I am giving The Invisible Man a 9 out of 10. While I might be setting the bar a little high for my first review, I was blown away by what this film did, especially the use of jump scares, where some horror films that we have seen in this day and age just throw jump scares in for the hell of it. They are so cleverly placed by Whannell that when they do come about, they get you in the most vulnerable of moments. It is absolutely fantastic. Did you agree with my review? Is there something you would like to see reviewed on the channel moving forward? Whether it be that or anything else, let me know in the comment section down below, or alternatively, you can reach out to me on social media. Those links are in the description down below. If you happen to be new to the channel and this is the type of content you would like to see moving forward, hit that subscribe button and pledge your allegiance to the Godzirra Nation by doing so, as well as hitting that notification bell so you don't miss a beat every single time something brand new does hit the channel as well. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.